and welcome to Tarot Thursday. As you can see, Mary's not with us tonight. It's just me, your host, Reverend Bryan John Ellicott, and I will be doing Tarot Thursday solo this evening. So, as always, feel free to leave your comments in the chat and to ask for a reading. They'll come up on my screen, and we'll take them one by one. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday, if it's still Thursday where you are. And if not, happy Friday. And as always, my only boundaries are health questions, legal advice, or tiny humans. And also, I only read for the person asking the question who's present. It has been an interesting week, at least for me. So, all right. Hopefully someone will join soon. It's a little harder to do a show by yourself. Yes, you ask a question first, Autumn, and then I usually pull up to 3 cards. And for those who don't know, Mary is part of the committee for Nashville Pagan Pride, which is this weekend. So that is why she is not here this evening. She's getting ready for a busy weekend. Looked like a lot of fun, though. Did you have a question, Autumn? Okay. So Autumn asks, I have so many future spiritual projects to choose from. What should I pursue next? All right, let's see. Kind of weird to be doing this alone. Usually I have a buddy. All right. Future projects for Autumn. So the first card is the Page of Pentacles. Now, traditionally, we talk about with Pentacles, physical things, material gain, that sort of thing. So some of your spiritual projects should definitely be, but also this is the card of Earth energy. So I would say something that's more grounded and practical, definitely like your resource guide. Hi, Anita. And then I pulled the Fool. So obviously, probably looks like one of your newer project ideas that you've had recently. And the third card I pulled is the Ace of Swords. So I'm going to say if you've had a new project recently I know you've been working on like a resource guide of across the United States and maybe internationally about groups that are formed and developed. But I think you've had a newer idea recently that maybe has more potential for you than that one. So I would say probably whatever's the newest idea that you've had is probably the one I would pursue because it probably has your best interests at the front of your mind right now. And since I'm by myself, why not pull one more card? Because I can. No one's really telling me not to. Yeah, the Knight of Wands, which is about direct action, and taking action. So I would say whatever the project is that recently came to mind is probably the one you want to pursue because the newest ideas are usually the easiest ones to execute, at least in my experience. So I would go with that, Autumn. I hope that helps you, even though I'm a person that gets ideas all the time. So that's always interesting. Three projects came to mind. Okay, well, let's try one more. Got time. Well, for that conversation yesterday that we had about mutual aid, believe it or not, I pulled the Ten of Pentacles, which is about communal support, wealth, and legacy building. So it sounds like if something like that is really what you want to work on personally, interestingly enough, that would be it. Hi, Eve. How are you? Yeah, I would say the practical one is the one that comes to the forefront because we pulled two pentacle cards there. So I would say go with that. Though all of those sound great. Anyone else has a question, just feel free to drop it in whichever chat you are streaming from. Um I would say the practical one though, definitely. Anita asks, will my new venture be a success? All right, let's see. So, the first card that I pulled is death. Now, death is not actual death, it is more rebirth than death. So, this is definitely the card of rebirth. So, this is a new adventure. The High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is about that feminine, maternal energy, um, and it's more about intuition and sort of that element. So, I would say that your new venture will definitely be um, one where you have to rely on your intuition and your gut instinct. And I pulled the Ace of Pentacles. Like I mentioned, the Pentacles are about material gain and wealth. So I would say that yes, your new venture will bring you some abundance and prosperity, but you will also have to do a bit of manifesting of your own in order to make that happen. So I would say trust your gut and you will have great success. So Autumn, the caption that's running across the bottom of the screen is selected by Mary, who helps produce Magic TV. So this is the one that she had me select. It's for Pagan World TV to have a million people sign up for Pagan.world. I am just the substitute teacher. I am not the runner of of the institution here. I am just the host this evening. The hostess with the leastest. But if you want to follow me and my little tarot endeavor, you can use my page, which is Queer Justice Tarot, and give me a like on Facebook or Instagram or Threads. Of course, Anita. I hope that was helpful. Usually when we do this Autumn, it's me and Mary. Mary is the host. I am her Robin to her Batman. Does anyone else feel free to drop your question in the chat and we can pull some cards. And I will do my best to do my best to do my best impression of Reverend Don Lewis and not try to pull as many cards as humanly possible, but you never know. Yeah, I have up to 12 people watching Autumn. It's not too bad. This program definitely is more engaging when I have people asking questions to pull cards for. So that helps. This is definitely more of an interactive show than a I don't know, some version of like nightly pagan news or something. I don't know. And with a new month, this is usually the time that I do a like 4-card spread for myself for the new year, usually the first week, to like reset my energy and my personal goals, which, you know, I am a big fan of that. I think tarot and journaling and shadow work kind of go hand over hand over hand. So that's one of my favorite things to do with tarot. There are some great tarot journaling books you can get. Many of them written by, I believe her name is Andrea Bloom. So that's always fun. So we are having a slow night. So maybe if we get a question or two, we can do a bigger card spread, which is harder to do when you're facing this way. So, all right. I would also love to hear from people watching if you have a favorite tarot card or a tarot card that you find like more that you are personally drawn to your energy. Mary always talks about the Queen of Swords, and obviously Justice is a big one for me. So Jenny says, how can I let go and grieve while also holding on to hope? Okay. Well, let's see what we can have Spirit say in that regard, and we will see what we can do about that. All right. The other thing about pulling cards when you're down a sidekick is you have to sidekick, not psychic. Play on words. So the first card I pulled is the Page of Wands. I would say that part of grieving is also finding your new spark or something that brings you comfort, but also something that you can put your creativity into, well, with grieving, whether it's journaling or art or music, something to not distract you, but take those emotions and turn them into something beautiful. And then I pulled the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is about that transition from grieving to hope, which is not easy to do. It is a transitional period. It is a migration. It is about letting go. But that sort of grieving process that's creative will allow for that transition and process to happen. And then, actually, followed up right by that is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is more about being discreet and like being sneaky. But in this regard, I want you to think about that as you doing the reverse, right? As if I pulled it reverse, which would mean that you're grieving openly and publicly, as a way to both empower yourself and others, and showing that after grief comes hope. So I would say use it as a creative, like use your pain or your grief as a way to express how you're feeling instead of submerging it, so that it really does help if you think of it that way. And yes, one more card just to say that once you do that kind of shadow work and that creative process, that there is hope. um I pulled for the fourth card the Nine of Cups, which is pleasure and fulfillment. So once you do the work, um it will bring you joy and hope. And I would say that. I hope that was helpful. So the question is, will I make my trip to Memphis on the 18th? All right, so we're going to do Anissa, and then Tammy, and then Eve. All right. So I will say that making your trip to Memphis is going to include teamwork or collaboration. I'm not sure whether you're flying or driving, but obviously, with any travel, um, comes collaboration and work. Knight of Cups, which is about emotion and seduction, sort of. It's kind of. So I would say yes, you are going to make it to Memphis on the 18th. Because I pulled the Four of Swords, which with the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands, as you can see, it's a celebration. It looks like they're getting married under a huppah. So I will say yes, you will make it to Memphis on the 18th, but you're going to have to rely on collaborating either with others that you know directly or the strangers you haven't met yet in your travels. So it will definitely be a collaborative effort, but you will make it to Memphis on the 18th, one way or another. Okay, so Tammy's asking for a general reading. All right. forgot to notify the world that I was streaming this evening. Right. So, general reading for Tammy. The first card is the Six of Cups, which is about familiarity, nostalgia. So, I feel like obviously with Samhain coming, that you're going into a period of reflection, and thinking about maybe old times, old friends, old lovers. And with those thoughts comes a bit of contention with the Five of Wands. Some of that nostalgia may not be great. It could be bringing up old feelings, old shadows, things you'd prefer probably not to think about. But I would say with the Two of Wands, it's a good time to reevaluate and look over your life and where you want to go and really think about what you want to explore further, what probably you shouldn't do again, not allowing yourself to make old mistakes. New mistakes are okay, but not allowing yourself to make the same mistake twice. So Tammy, I would say this reading is about really that evaluation period and seeing where you want to go and who you want to spend your time with in some way or another. And Eve is asking, what do I need to do to get more organized? Okay. Well, Eve, you would just so have met the right person. Most people call me the most organized human they've ever met. So, with the Nine of Pentacles, as we've discussed a lot this evening, you need to invest in your organizing skills, whether that's a planner, whether that is a bookshelf, whether that is you need to be able to hack your own brain and know where your strengths and weaknesses are, and also being able to know the fact that you're asking where you need to do to get organized means that you already know you have work to do. So I would say you're doing the work by just asking the question. And I pulled again for the second time this evening the Three of Pentacles, which again is about teamwork and collaboration. So there is someone in your life who is an organized person who can help you or guide you and might be able to help you with your Achilles heel on getting organized. And that person is someone close to you, someone who you have an emotional connection with. And I'm going to pull one more card. Yeah, it's someone in your family who is a good communicator. The swords are about communication. So there's someone in your direct friend circle or family circle who is a good communicator, knows your communication style, and will help you get more organized. You first have to ask those people what you need to do, because those people are the people that are going to be able to help you. But just knowing that you need to get more organized is the first step. And I hope everyone was able to get some more clarity on their questions. That was great. Like I said, it's a very different experience to be one card slinger flying solo. All right. Okay, Barb. I'm used to having someone else run the chat, so I didn't see your comment come up. All right. Okay. My first thing that shows up, Barb, is the Hermit. Then the Hermit is about introspection and reflection of your inner self, and also guiding out of the darkness with the help of your lantern in order to see. So I would say this: you're going into a period of inner reflection that is obviously needed right now, followed by the Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen of Wands is about authenticity. So during this time of reflection, when it's over, you will feel this sense to be your more authentic self publicly. And once you do that, there will be now the cups are about emotions, love, but this is about something new. So once you go through this period of reflection and you're more authentic in yourself and in your presence out in the world, someone new is coming into it. Could be a lover, could be a friend, could be a reconnection with a family member who you haven't talked to in a while. But I would say that after that reflection, you will feel a sense of more being willing to be around people that you haven't wanted to be around in a while. And yeah, the Two of Wands, which again is about looking out at your life, at essentially your kingdom, and being like, what do I want to do next? So I hope that's helpful. Of course, Barbara. Happy to do so. All right. Anyone else has a question? Or not even just a tarot reading question, like a tarot or divination question in general. I am happy to answer those as well. This is one of my, I would say, favorite areas of um, paganism for me is divination. I've taken a long time to study and learn various forms of divination, not just tarot. Tarot runes, oracle cards, smoke, tea leaves, coffee grounds, things like that. I would say recently coffee ground reading has been quite interesting. I cold brew my coffee, so I can do a lot more things with it, divination wise, than if I hot brewed it, which is fun. There's a maybe this evening, before we wind down, everybody does something different when they wind down. I know Rev Don does. Do you use tools to answer questions or your intuition from the tools? I use both, Barb. I use some of like the basic imagery because I use the Rider Waite here on the channel when I read. So I use some of the symbolism, but also sometimes I am guided by spirit when it comes to if someone asks for a general reading. I also am open to spirit taking me in a direction at times. So I would say it's a bit of both for me. It also depends on if I'm reading in person or virtually. So I would say it's sometimes a bit of both, sometimes heavier one way more than the other. So it would depend. I also have at times read from the symbolism. For example, let's see if I can. I'll give you an example. I don't think Fluffy will mind. I once pulled, I believe, the Knight of Cups and essentially told Fluffy to be the anchovy. Because the Knight of Cups has a cup and this little fish that hangs out of the cup. Here, I'll show it to you. Right? So there's a little fish in the cup. And when I read this card for our friend Fluffy, it wasn't the human that I was picking up the vibe for. It was essentially that little fish. And the reading, went and progressed as it did, and I essentially told him to be the anchovy. Oh, Elvis is in the bedroom with my partner this evening, Eve. I think since I'm hosting Tarot Thursday solo, I didn't need my fur child to be overly distracting this evening. It's also about to be my child eats breakfast at 11 o'clock at night. She's a strange one. She likes her meals about 5 hours apart, and then she's good for the rest of the day. So in about 10 minutes or so, she probably will start singing the song of her ancestors. But she's around. I live in a small New York City apartment. She can't go too far. For those who don't know, Elvis is my cat. She is just your average black and white kitty. Not a tuxedo. She's more like a cow. We adopted her from a New York City shelter, and her name came with her, and we liked it so much that we kept it. However, as you notice, I use she, her pronouns when talking about her because she is assigned female kitty at birth. However, her name sometimes causes her to have a slight bit of misgendering, much like her daddy. Hi. So, Elvis is my child. I appreciate the ask. All right. Well, while we're seeing if anyone else has any questions. Oh, Angela says she has a cow and a tux. Oh, what are their names, Angela? got a little extra time. Harley Quinn and Joker. Oh, it's cute. All right. I'm going to pull a card for the collective from the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. We don't have to do anything except pay taxes and cross over. But I love my fur babies just the same. All right. Somebody say stop so I can stop shuffling. I will keep shuffling till someone says stop. Or type stop, for that matter. Thank you. All right, we pulled the Healer, which is card number 22 of this deck, and it says, listen as the medicine bleeds through her teeth. A river for mercy blessed by Mother, seen only by those who hold her mirror. All right. That's pretty good. Let's see what the rest of the book says for this one. For oracle cards, I like to read the book over going with the imagery, just because the book sometimes gives you some extra information that is actually quite useful. Whereas I spend more time with tarot just going with spirit. Sometimes I like to read the deck, read the guidebook. Yeah. So guide and facilitator are the keywords that the book gives us. And it says you can become a facilitator of healing, creating healing tools such as guided meditations, healing jewelry, candles, and even creating your own oracle deck can provide others with a path to heal themselves. You create the path for others to walk. You are unique in having something to hear within the world. So, that is just a oracle for the collective. But if anyone else wants another reading or hasn't asked a question yet, we have about 20-ish minutes left. And of course, the same things still apply. If you just have a question about tarot or any other divinatory practices, feel free to put those in the chat as well. Those are the questions I love the most. Oh, and I have something I can share while we see if anything else comes in the chat. And for those who might not have been here earlier, oh god, some unwarned ASMR. I am a tarot journaler, so I do a lot of tarot journaling. And next year, believe it or not, my card of the year, which you can determine your card of the year by your birth month, birth day, and birth year, adding all of those numbers together. And obviously, if the number is higher than 21, you would also then reduce down by adding those numbers together till you get to between 1 and 21. And that would be your card for the year, or for your birth. But the card for your year would be your birthday month, your birthday, and then you're adding 2024. So next year, my card for the year is actually the Tower. So I got this giant, I want to say like it's 5 inches by 3 inches sticker of the Tower card that I'm going to stick into my bullet journal. So there's a very large here. So this is a standard tarot card, and this is the sticker, just for comparison. The Three of Pentacles seems to be stalking us this evening, everyone. We have a lot of teamwork and collaboration ahead of us. And if there's not any other questions, I might end about 15 minutes earlier than usual. Yeah, Barb, it is pretty cool. I bought it from Etsy. Let's see what the name of the shop is. Yes, the Kawaii Kiwi. Scrying has its purposes like anything else. Yes, I do readings. I also do readings. How do you read smoke? Very similar to reading tea leaves. You're looking for the images or how the smoke is either. Obviously, you would turn a fan off. Right now, I have a fan blowing. So I wouldn't do it if I had a fan or any sort of air conditioning on. But you would read it based on how the smoke is either waving or going straight up, or is it leaning in any particular direction. Um, and then for scrying, I am not a big scryer, believe it or not, Eve. That is not one of my gifts or skills that I have achieved yet. I do believe, personally, this is my own personal opinion, that you do have a certain set of natural gifts and talents you can learn over time. But scrying is not one of those things for me. And yes, Angela, I do readings both here on Tarot Thursday, usually with I am the Robin to Rev Mary Hawk's Batman. So usually we do we partner up and do readings on Tarot Thursday. And then I also independently run a tarot reading business called Queer Justice Tarot. And you can always book readings with me, or if you, shameless plug, liked what you see tonight and you want to drop a little change in my bucket, my link's there too. I usually charge independently. Yes, that's on my website, which is queerjusticetarot.com. And I oftentimes also do readings just for tips. Like I said, there's a link if you just want to, you know. I am not a fan of warm weather, Barb, so I'm definitely ready for fall. However, my birthday is in July, so surprisingly, I'm a Cancer who vibes best after the sun has gone to a more balanced place. I am not a fan of the heat. So I am looking forward to unplugging the air conditioner finally. If there are no other questions this evening, I will close out momentarily. So I will. Yeah, I find that people's birthdays and their seasons are usually opposite, at least from my experience. My partner is a Taurus from Texas, California. He is also not a fan of the heat, so he's very happy in the spring and fall. I am also more happy in the spring and the fall. I don't mind the winter so much. However, I am a rather short individual. So once we get about more than 6 inches of snow, I am a rather unhappy human. I will say that. So if there are no other questions this evening, I will leave us here and say good night and blessed be everyone.